Hello everyone, and welcome to my Sister Wives For You channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. MERI Brown destroys KODY in court. Robyn breaks down as judge delivers shocking verdict that leaves KODY crushed and MERI triumphant. In a courtroom showdown that sent shockwaves through the Sister Wives universe, MERI Brown, the first and once loyal wife of KODY Brown, delivered the ultimate takedown that fans have been waiting years to witness. Armed with years of heartbreak, betrayal, and receipts, MERI didn't just walk into court seeking closure, she walked in prepared for war. And when the gavel finally came down, the judge's verdict stunned everyone, including Robyn, who completely broke down in front of the cameras as the reality of KODY's unraveling empire finally hit her. After years of being pushed aside, silenced, and gaslit, MERI Brown won. She didn't just win the legal case. She reclaimed her power, her voice, and her dignity, and she did it in front of the very man who tried to erase her. The legal battle began quietly, but quickly erupted into a full-scale war. Sources confirmed that MERI had filed for a legal review of financial misconduct and unequal asset distribution after her spiritual divorce from KODY. While their separation played out emotionally on screen, MERI never signed away her rights to KODY Pass or the family business ventures she'd helped build over the decades. KODY, always dismissive of MERI's legal standing, had reportedly moved assets into an LLC under his name and Robyn's without consulting MERI. But MERI wasn't about to be erased, not again. In court, MERI's legal team came prepared. Documented timelines, financial statements, and old agreements between KODY and the wives were submitted as evidence. One particular document, a 2012 joint family agreement that clearly named MERI as an equal stakeholder in the Brown family's land and business holdings, became the cornerstone of her case. It proved what many fans suspected all along. MERI had a legal right to a portion of the assets, and KODY had actively tried to sideline her from it all. KODY, flustered and visibly frustrated, argued that MERI had moved on and was no longer part of the family unit. His team pushed a narrative that MERI had abandoned her role voluntarily. But the judge wasn't buying it, and neither was the packed courtroom, filled with media, supporters, and even some of the Brown children, who came to show quiet solidarity with MERI. Then came the moment that silenced the room. MERI took the stand. With calm poise and a steady voice, MERI laid it all bare. She recounted years of emotional neglect, financial dismissal, and the slow erosion of her role in the family. But she wasn't bitter. She was measured, dignified, and powerful. "I didn't come here to destroy anyone," MERI told the judge. "I came here to reclaim what's mine. For decades, I poured myself into a family that eventually treated me like a stranger. I stayed loyal. I stayed committed. But I won't stay silent anymore." The courtroom was silent. Even KODY, usually smug and combative, sat motionless, visibly shaken. Robyn, sitting behind him, began to cry quietly, dabbing her eyes as MERI spoke. But the real breakdown came moments later when the judge delivered the verdict. In a shocking turn, the judge ruled in MERI's favor, granting her 25% legal ownership of KODY Pass, back pay for unpaid family business dividends, and a public acknowledgement of her standing in past family agreements. But it didn't stop there. The judge openly criticized KODY's behavior, calling his financial handling of the wives ethically questionable and unfairly self-serving. The gavel came down with a sound that echoed through the courtroom and the entire fanbase. MERI Brown had won. Robyn, upon hearing the verdict, burst into sobs. Some witnesses described her as inconsolable. She reportedly turned to KODY and whispered, "What have you done?" It was a moment of raw vulnerability. Robyn, who had stood by KODY through everything, finally confronting the crumbling of their curated power structure. KODY, red-faced and silent, refused to meet her eyes. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed, but MERI emerged smiling and graceful. She didn't gloat. She didn't shout. She simply said, "This was never about revenge. It was about truth. And now I can finally move forward, on my own terms." Fans online erupted. Hashtag Mary wins trended for hours. Reddit threads were flooded with praise for her resilience. "This is the justice Mary deserved years ago," one fan wrote. "She's been gaslit, ghosted, and mocked, and she still walked out with her head held high." Meanwhile, KODY retreated from the cameras, issuing only a brief, defensive statement. "It's a complicated situation. I stand by my decisions." But no one was listening. The narrative had shifted, and this time, it was Mary's voice that echoed loudest. The emotional ripple effect has already begun. Janelle and Christine, both watching from afar, reportedly reached out to Mary to offer congratulations, a full-circle moment considering their rocky past. Even Paydon and Michael T shared posts hinting that they were proud of the real MVP. Inside the Brown household, tensions have reached a boiling point. Robyn, devastated and humiliated, is said to be questioning everything, not just KODY's leadership, but their future together. Insiders say she's been emotionally withdrawn, plagued by guilt over how Mary was treated for so long. "She backed the wrong horse," one source said. And now she's realizing the cost. As for KODY, his once impenetrable authority is crumbling. He's now facing additional legal reviews into the handling of Coyote Pass, and whispers of a full financial audit have started circulating. If Mary's case exposed even a fraction of the truth, what else is hiding in KODY's tangled web of LLCs and spiritual manipulation? But Mary? She's thriving. With renewed energy and public support, she's launching a new venture, part real estate, part memoir, and part empowerment brand. Her message is clear. You can love someone and still walk away. You can forgive and still demand justice. You can lose everything and still win. Her final words to the press outside the courtroom summed it all up. "I spent too many years waiting for someone to see me. Today, I see myself, and I'm finally free." Mary Brown destroys KODY in court. Robyn breaks down as judge delivers shocking verdict. It was the showdown fans have been manifesting for years, and it finally exploded in the kind of jaw-dropping courtroom drama that would make even the most hardened divorce attorneys blink twice. Because when Mary Brown walked into that Utah courthouse, flanked by her legal team, chin high, lips pursed, and wearing a navy blue power suit that could cut glass, there was no hesitation, no apology, and certainly no trace of the woman who once clung to a broken marriage with KODY Brown, begging for crumbs of attention. This was a different Mary. This was Mary reborn, Mary the Phoenix, Mary the Storm, and she wasn't there to negotiate. She was there to finish it. And across the room sat KODY Brown, nervously tapping his pen against the polished oak table, his once proud curls slightly frizzed, his usual bravado nowhere to be found as the woman he so easily dismissed now prepared to take him apart, piece by piece, lie by lie, decade by decade. In front of a judge, a packed courtroom, a gallery full of bloggers, journalists, TLC production staff, and most shockingly, Robyn Brown herself, seated in the back row, already visibly trembling before the first gavel strike. Because what happened next? Nobody was ready. Not KODY, not Robyn, not even the judge, who by the end of the hearing would find himself delivering one of the most shocking rulings in reality television legal history, a decision so seismic it's already being dissected across YouTube, Reddit, podcasts, and primetime news cycles. But let's rewind. Let's go back to the opening statement, where Mary Brown's attorney stood, composed, deliberate, and launched the torpedo that would sink the SS KODY forever. "Your Honor, we're not here to debate marriage. We're here to expose manipulation, exploitation, and a decade-long campaign of emotional abandonment carried out by a man who paraded spiritual unions on television while privately crushing the women who supported him." Audible gasps. Robyn clutched a tissue. KODY's jaw visibly clenched. And Mary? She just stared straight ahead, her eyes cold, clear, and ready for justice. Over the next 3 hours, Mary's legal team unleashed a cascade of receipts so overwhelming it left the courtroom breathless. Handwritten letters from Mary to KODY begging for emotional support that went unanswered. Text message threads that showed him stonewalling her for months while lavishing Robyn with daily affection. Financial records proving that MERI had contributed more than $300,000 of her own earnings, largely from her LuLaRoe empire, to the family's shared property funds, only to be cut out of key decisions about land, homes, and inheritance. And then came the video clips, unedited TLC footage that never aired, now subpoenaed and presented as evidence, showing KODY ridiculing MERI behind closed doors, laughing with Robyn about just keeping MERI around for appearances, even referring to her as dead weight, in one stunning off-camera moment. The gallery audibly gasped. The judge raised his eyebrows. Robyn, caught on camera dabbing at her tears, leaned forward as if to say something, only to be hushed by court security. And KODY? He sat, frozen, hands clenched, as years of lies collapsed around him. Then MERI took the stand.
Calm.
Controlled. Unshakable. I loved him, she said plainly, voice steady. I was 19 years old. I believed we were building something sacred. But what we were building was a pedestal for him. And every time one of us stood up for ourselves, he kicked us off that pedestal. Her voice didn't crack. Her eyes didn't well. Because this wasn't about emotion anymore, it was about facts. She recounted in exacting detail how she had been pushed out emotionally long before Christine or Janelle ever left, how she was publicly humiliated in interviews, how Robyn had become the gatekeeper of all affection and power in the family, and how KODY had weaponized their faith, their family structure, and even the cameras to make her feel invisible. And just when the courtroom thought the worst had been revealed, MERI dropped the nuclear bomb, a copy of a confidential agreement, signed by KODY, that allowed Robyn to assume full control over the shared property titles in Arizona, including the infamous Coyote Pass land, without informing the other wives. The judge stared at the document for several seconds before speaking. Mr. Brown, is this your signature? KODY stammered. Yes, but... The judge held up a hand. Then I've heard enough. What followed was one of the most powerful moments in courtroom reality TV history. The judge's ruling? Devastating for KODY. Groundbreaking for MERI. In a stunning verdict, the court awarded MERI full reimbursement for every cent she contributed to the family estate, with interest. But that wasn't all. Due to the concealed transfer of property rights and the exploitation of MERI's financial assets without consent, the judge also ordered an independent audit of the Brown Family Trust, froze any future land development on Coyote Pass until all former wives are accounted for, and issued a legal rebuke of KODY's manipulative tactics as coercive and inconsistent with fiduciary duty under a spiritual union model repeatedly used for profit. Translation? KODY's reign just ended. And Robyn broke down. Not just misty-eyed. Not quiet sobs. We're talking full-body trembling, mascara-streaked weeping, gasping in horror as the courtroom devolved into stunned murmurs. Because she knew, deep down, that the paper trail couldn't lie, that her role as the silent benefactor of all the Brown women's labor was now illuminated in the harshest spotlight. As MERI walked out, flanked by reporters, camera crews, and fans cheering from across the courthouse steps, Robyn was left behind, slumped in her seat, clutching her purse, unable to speak. And KODY? He didn't even look back. Because for the first time in decades, KODY Brown was not the center of attention. He was the defendant in a case that wasn't just about money, it was about justice. And MERI? MERI didn't smile. She didn't gloat. She just walked into the sunlight, exhaled, and finally, closed the chapter on a man who once promised eternity but delivered only control.